LeBron James chose the Philadelphia 76ers, and Charles Barkley wasted absolutely no time firing right back. Rather than celebrating the biggest move of the entire offseason, Barkley straight up questioned the decision, kicking off a loud, chaotic debate that immediately split the basketball world right down the middle. Here is how it all unfolded. Charles Barkley had one incredibly simple plan, a tea time. That was it. That was his entire Friday vibe. Then LeBron James turned everything upside down. The moment news broke that James was signing with Philly, Barkley was immediately called to jump on Stephen A. Smith's show, Straight Shooter, and he made it crystal clear he was not happy. I was doing just fine until you all ruined my damn day. I was heading to the golf course. I had to turn right around because this doofus made his announcement. Man, don't interrupt my damn summer schedule. I don't play golf every single day, and now you all pissed me off on a Friday. That is how this entire thing kicked off. Pure frustration, zero filter, right after the deal went public. But beneath all that talk about golf, Barkley had been building this opinion for weeks. He had spent almost 2 full weeks openly hoping LeBron would land somewhere else entirely. Fans could not help but laugh at how his relaxing weekend got blown up by the very move he had been fighting against. Barkley had Cleveland and Miami locked in as the real favorites, so when Philly actually won out, it caught him completely off guard. Shocked was his immediate reaction, he told Smith, because he really wanted him to go back to Cleveland. He has zero affiliation with the 76ers, and he has no affiliation with the Warriors either. Do the Miami thing, I could deal with that, honestly, if he went back to Miami, but he has no connection to the Sixers. So I was just hoping he went. I was really hoping he would go back to Cleveland. That same level of energy did not fade either. A day later, during a Cleveland radio spot, he doubled down. This time with zero jokes, just straight disappointment. I am disappointed. I wanted him to go to Cleveland. Because he has no natural affiliation with Philly. I am surprised he had no affiliation with the Warriors either. If he went to the Heat, that would have been a little bit different. But I thought, ending his story, there would be a great way to finish. To finish everything up in Cleveland, so I am a bit disappointed. But hey, it is ultimately his decision. But I am just a little disappointed, plain and simple, Barkley admitted. No humor, no sarcasm, just a crystal clear stance. Now, this is where it stops being about golf and transforms into a genuine basketball argument. Barkley did not just want LeBron in Cleveland for purely emotional reasons, though he used this moment to revive a major criticism he has been holding on to for years. Speaking on the Stephen A. Smith show right after the signing, Barkley dropped what he believes is the absolute biggest issue with LeBron's career. The number one knock on LeBron for older guys like myself has always been that he is constantly stacking his team, Barkley said. He stacked in Miami, he stacked in Cleveland, he stacked in Los Angeles, and now he is stacking it in Philly. And he made it clear that age does not change his opinion, even with LeBron chasing championship number 5 at age 41. Barkley was not backing down from that take at all. LeBron, though, did not fire any shots back. His announcement felt much more like a calm transition than a heated reply. He stated he believed he could help turn the 76ers into a true championship squad, and talked about bringing fresh energy to a brand new fan base. He thanked Los Angeles, saying he would always have love for Miami while calling Northeast Ohio home. There was no mention of Barkley, no reaction to that doofus comment, just a clean, quiet move forward. But that silence did not stop anyone else from jumping right into the conversation. Within hours, completely different voices across the basketball world were weighing in, and absolutely none of them were on the same page. First up was Stephen A. Smith on First Take. The second the news broke, he openly admitted he got it completely wrong. Pure shock, Smith said when asked for his reaction, because he thought that if LeBron went back east, he would go home. But that shock did not last very long. He quickly flipped right into hype mode, praising the 76ers roster. In his eyes, Philly instantly became a massive threat in the East. The Knicks' reign in the Eastern Conference may already be over, Smith warned, making it clear the 76ers are now right there alongside New York as top contenders. Then came Brian Windhorst, who has followed the career of LeBron James closer than almost anyone, and he was definitely not rocking with Barkley's take. Windhorst pushed back hard on the narrative of stacking teams, saying that idea does not fully match reality. He admitted Miami was clearly built as a super team with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh coming together on purpose, but argued that his later moves were not the same situation at all. He pointed out that LeBron returned to a Cleveland team that had not even made the playoffs in 4 years. Same league legend, same this side of the story. Same league legend, same wild free agency move, and somehow reached a completely different conclusion than Barkley did, all on the same day. And then, out of nowhere, a third voice jumped into the mix from a totally different angle. Allen Iverson, the icon of Philadelphia, the guy whose number hangs in the rafters and whose statue stands right outside the arena. Unlike the others, he did not sound torn at all. Talking on Stephen A. Smith's radio show just hours after the news broke, Iverson kept his take simple and direct. It is definitely championship or bust, man. I mean, that is the added piece, Iverson said. Obviously, you put him on any team, and you definitely have a shot. No hesitation, no overthinking it. The only thing that made him pause was not how LeBron fits or what his intentions were. It was health, the same exact worry that kept popping up all summer. So, in one chaotic news cycle, you have got Barkley venting and throwing heat, Windhorst stepping in to challenge him, Stephen A. flipping from total shock to pure hype, and Iverson going all in on championship expectations. That is the real story here. It is not just LeBron versus a single critic, but his decision, landing in a room full of legends who cannot agree on what it means. And Barkley was far from finished. Not even close. Once the golf jokes faded out, he locked in on the argument he really wanted to make. That is when things got deeply personal. This stopped being about Cleveland or Philly. Instead, it became about a pattern he claims he has been watching for over 20 years. He broke it down step by step, going through LeBron's career team by team. Listen, LeBron is great, but like I say, my criticism is, man, he always makes sure he has the best players, Barkley repeated. That single line is the core of everything he has been saying. One of the reasons I always give Michael the edge is that Michael got his head beat in by the Pistons and the Celtics before he finally said, "No, I am going to get bigger, stronger, and faster," he added. That comparison drives Barkley's entire argument. In his view, Michael Jordan took years of brutal losses, dealing with Detroit's physical style and Boston's sheer dominance before finally breaking through by leveling up his own game, not by assembling a ready-made squad. Meanwhile, Barkley believes LeBron skipped that grind every single time he switched teams. From Miami to Cleveland, Los Angeles, and now Philadelphia. That is the pattern he keeps pointing to, and he is not letting it go. Other media outlets quickly started echoing that same angle, pointing out just how long this exact criticism has followed LeBron around. Barkley's argument leans heavily on a past era, where stars had to work with what they had, instead of constantly reshaping rosters around them. Giants like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan get brought up a lot in this debate. Icons who focused on improving their own game instead of pushing for massive roster changes. But here is where the story gets a little complicated. Barkley's own career does not exactly stay clean in this conversation. Toward the end, he chased a ring in Houston alongside Hakeem Olajuwon and Scottie Pippen, two all-time greats, the exact kind of stacked move he is calling out today, and he definitely knows it. Still, that has not stopped him from making his point. Every time LeBron changes teams, Barkley circles back to the same issue, especially with this current situation in Philadelphia. Because this Sixers squad is not starting from scratch. They are already loaded. This is definitely not some slow rebuild or long-term development project. Barkley quickly pointed out that LeBron is joining a powerhouse roster with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, and VJ Edgecombe already in place. That is unbelievable firepower before LeBron even takes the court. To Barkley, that is the literal definition of stacking the deck. And for many old-school analysts, that crosses a line when it comes to the spirit of competition. That is why this move hits such a raw nerve. But this is exactly where Windhorse's response lands so hard, because he does not just disagree, he systematically dismantles the argument piece by piece. He acknowledged Miami was absolutely a stacked situation with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh teaming up by design. No debate there. But after that, he is not buying the narrative. Think about it. When LeBron returned to Cleveland, that team had not made the playoffs in 4 years. That is not stacking a roster. That is stepping into a struggling franchise and completely turning it around. Windhorse's core point is incredibly simple. Miami was definitely built, but everything after that is not as clear-cut as Barkley claims. And that is exactly where this debate starts dividing basketball fans. Meanwhile, other corners of the basketball media zoomed in on that ring-chasing label Barkley had been throwing around weeks before this deal even happened. Back on July 7th, when Philly still felt like a total long shot, Barkley completely dismissed the whole idea. He is not coming to Philly, Barkley said on 97.5 The Fanatic. That ship has already sailed. He should go back to Cleveland and finish his career there. If he goes to Philly, Barkley warned back then, people are going to say he is ring chasing. And just like that, it actually happened. LeBron headed to Philly, and the ring-chasing accusations showed up instantly, exactly the way Barkley predicted. The big twist? Now Barkley himself was leading that charge, while other analysts pushed back hard, questioning if that label was even fair in the first place. Meanwhile, another argument started picking up serious traction, and it completely flipped Barkley's whole point on its head. People began pointing out that Philadelphia has not even sniffed a conference finals in 20 years, while Cleveland just made it there last season. That changes the conversation fast. When you bring up Cleveland, they are not some struggling team either. They are closer to Miami in terms of recent success. Their last championship came with LeBron back in 2016, and they were still deep in the mix as recently as 2026. So, if someone wants to call a LeBron to Philly move ring-chasing, fine. But here is the twist. The Sixers are the only team in that group that has not broken through in 2 decades. Getting them over that wall would not hurt LeBron's legacy. It could actually boost it in a major way. That is the real divide running through this entire situation. To Barkley, walking onto a roster this stacked is proof LeBron still needs extra help. But to others, joining the only Eastern team that keeps falling short feels less like a shortcut and more like stepping into a rescue mission. And Barkley, he is not changing his stance at all. When asked again about the stacking label after everything became official, he did not hesitate. He doubled down immediately and added Philly to his running list. The number one knock on LeBron for older guys like myself has always been, "Yo, man, you are always stacking your team," Barkley said. He stacked in Miami, he stacked in Cleveland, he stacked in LA, now he is stacking it in Philly. So that, to me, I am still going to have the exact same criticism I have always had. Same message, no adjustments, no backing off. But there is a small detail in that timeline that people keep circling back to. When LeBron returned to Cleveland back in 2014, that roster was not loaded at all. It was actually pretty thin. Meanwhile, Miami's Big Three era and the later situation in Los Angeles line up much more cleanly with Barkley's argument. That is exactly the gap Windhorst attacked when he pushed back. Whether Barkley is willing to admit that difference publicly is a completely different story. But what nobody can argue is how this current Sixers roster actually came together in the first place. And that story leads straight to Joel Embiid. Long before Barkley was heated about his golf plans getting ruined, there was something way quieter happening behind the scenes. One player, one franchise, and over a decade of patience building toward this exact time. Joel Embiid first reached out to LeBron James all the way back in the summer of 2014, before he had even played an NBA game. Back then, it looked like a total joke. Embiid was dealing with injuries, not even on the court yet, but he kept calling for LeBron to come to Philly anyway. What started as half joke, half dream slowly turned into something real over time. And it did not stop. Embiid kept that energy going for years, mixing humor with real intent. and eventually it became part of Philadelphia's actual pitch. LeBron even considered it once before in 2018, when the Sixers were seriously in the running, right before he chose the Lakers instead. During that earlier process, Embiid and LeBron had real conversations, not just surface-level talk, and that connection did not disappear. Fast forward to 2024, and the two teamed up to win gold in Paris. That moment mattered more than most people realized, because now LeBron wasn't just watching Embiid from a distance. He saw him up close as a teammate. Not just highlights, not just stats, the real version. And the biggest question was never talent or fit. It was always health. Embiid is now past 30 and his body has been through a lot. His knees need careful management, and that has been the biggest red flag around him for years. Reports during free agency made it clear this was not a small concern for LeBron. It was almost a deal breaker. LeBron knew the numbers. Embiid had missed more games than he had played over his career. That is not something you ignore when you are making a decision this big, so instead of guessing, they talked directly. No cameras, no noise, just a real conversation. About a month before the announcement, LeBron and Embiid met in Los Angeles for nearly 2 hours. And LeBron did not sugarcoat anything. He asked the hard questions. Was Embiid healthy? Could he stay on the court? Was this going to be another season interrupted by injuries? Embiid answered straight up. He said this was the first summer of his career without surgery, that he felt fully healthy, and that he was locked in on the work ahead. That answer changed everything. LeBron's camp later confirmed that conversation was a major turning point. Even Rich Paul addressed it publicly. I do not want to be hard on Embiid, but you have to think about all those things. Rich Paul noted that from everything he understands, Embiid is doing a hell of a job this summer. In fact, this is the very first summer he has actually been healthy, which was exactly the reassurance LeBron needed. And that is the exact part Barkley's argument tends to skip over completely. This was not LeBron simply jumping onto a finished, perfect team. This was him doing real homework behind the scenes, making sure the centerpiece of the roster could actually hold up physically. Ironically, that is the exact concern Barkley himself had brought up months earlier. He had openly questioned whether Philadelphia's whole structure was even sustainable at all, pointing directly at mounting injuries and massive contracts. At the time, Barkley warned that the front office might have to make some incredibly tough calls, especially with big deals tied to players who had injury histories. Both Embiid and Paul George were seen as highly risky long-term investments. But here is the twist. That version of the roster does not even exist in Philly anymore. Paul George is gone, traded along with 4 future draft picks to Boston, in exchange for Jaylen Brown, a 5-time All-Star who already has a Finals MVP on his resume. That major move completely reshaped the franchise long before LeBron ever made his final decision. And the wild part is, Barkley actually loved that trade when it happened. Man, the Sixers just got away with absolute murder, he said. With Paul George's contract and Joel Embiid's ongoing inability to stay healthy, they were going to be completely out of the championship running for the next 4 to 5 years. Now they are legitimate title contenders. According to Barkley, that blockbuster deal shifted the entire balance of power in the Eastern Conference, which makes this whole situation even louder today, because the exact same roster he once praised is now part of the argument he is criticizing. That massive trade did not just happen by pure luck. It was engineered by Bob Myers, the former Golden State mastermind, who stepped right into Philly's front office after Daryl Morey left and immediately started aggressively reshaping everything. His focus was never just about big names. It was health, fit, and building something that could actually hold up when it mattered. Stephen A. Smith gave Myers full credit for this, saying he basically set the stage for LeBron's arrival in the first place. According to Smith, Myers built a formidable roster that can go head-to-head with anybody, including the defending champion Knicks, who had just swept Philly in the second round of the playoffs this season. And when LeBron finally made his decision, it did not catch the locker room off guard at all. Reports surfaced fast that Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Jaylen Brown were already completely in the loop. This was not some surprise move. They were treated like true partners in the process, not just names on a depth chart. I have been told that he contacted Embiid, Maxey, and Brown within the last 24 hours, and that these key guys knew prior to the official announcement. Yahoo's Kevin O'Connor reported they have been in communication together. It would seem like quite the betrayal to trade Joel Embiid. O'Connor added that this kind of unique coordination tells a very different story than the narrative Barkley was pushing. Because while Barkley framed this like LeBron simply dropped into a ready-made super team, the actual reality behind the scenes was way more complicated and far more intentional. This was not instant by any means. This was years of effort. One player pushing for over a decade, a private 2-hour meeting focused purely on injuries and durability, and a front office making bold moves right before everything became official. So whether this team is truly stacked depends heavily on how you look at it. But one thing is clear, it did not change Barkley's opinion at all. What it did do, though, was create one of the most confusing rosters in the league, because absolutely nobody fully agrees on how good this group actually is yet. Once the signing dust finally settled, the conversation shifted fast. It went from why did LeBron choose Philly to what exactly is this Philly team now? And that is exactly where things got even more divided. On paper, this lineup looks unreal, almost like something built directly inside a video game. Philly had already landed Jaylen Brown earlier in July, and the roster now features Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and VJ Edgecombe. Add LeBron to that star-studded mix, and suddenly you have got a squad packed with MVPs, finals MVPs, and elite all-star talent across multiple eras. Stephen A. Smith, after getting over his initial shock about Cleveland, spent days breaking down exactly why this roster could shake the entire Eastern Conference. He pointed out that pairing LeBron with Jaylen Brown and Tyrese Maxey instantly puts Philly right back in championship territory. Brown was coming off the absolute best season of his career, dropping 28.7 points per game, while Edgecombe and Maxey combined for 44.3 points per game the season before. That kind of elite production is no joke. But Smith did not just hand out praise without major conditions. He made it clear there is one huge if hanging over everything, and it is the same exact one that has followed Philly for years. You got him with VJ Edgecombe, who shined as a rookie. If Joel Embiid is 50% healthy, if he can give you anything during the playoffs, the Philadelphia 76ers could win the championship. Smith noted that the word "if" is doing some heavy lifting here, especially since Joel Embiid's health has always been the ultimate question mark. It feels like every time this team builds up steam, injuries derail the whole season. Take the 2026 playoffs. Embiid was only healthy enough for 4 of those 7 first-round games against Boston. That's a cold, hard fact. So now any projection about Philly has a massive warning label attached to it. No matter how incredibly deep this roster looks on paper, it all comes back to a single question. Can Embiid stay on the floor when everything is on the line? Even Barkley pointed this out months ago, way before any of this free agency chaos started. Back when Philadelphia was struggling through a brutal stretch, he saw the writing on the wall and warned that the organization was in real trouble. He made it clear that as dominant as Embiid is, staying healthy is the constant issue. He even hinted the front office would have to answer for these struggles. And that is where things get really fascinating. Think about it. The very same analyst calling this team stacked was questioning their actual relevance just a few short months ago. That is a massive shift. Before, Barkley saw a franchise going nowhere fast, but add LeBron James to that exact same core. Suddenly they are an unfair super team. That contradiction says a lot, showing that Barkley's wild reaction isn't just about the depth chart. It is about LeBron himself, because when it was just Embiid, Maxey, and a fragile roster, everything looked pretty shaky. Throw LeBron into the mix, and suddenly it's unfair. But inside the locker room, there was zero debate, only pure excitement. Once the signing went public, players like Embiid, Brown, and Maxey did not show any doubt. They were totally hyped. They could not hide their feelings. You could feel the electric energy as they celebrated landing one of the greatest players of all time. Edgecombe went even further, reacting like a young rookie who suddenly realized exactly who he gets to share the floor with. He literally recreated a famous meme face online to welcome LeBron, fully leaning into the internet culture of it all. That small moment showed just how mind-boggling this whole thing is for the young guys, and the buzz stretched way beyond basketball. Even NFL stars got in on the action. Philadelphia Eagles running back Saquon Barkley immediately invited LeBron out for a round of golf. Yeah, the exact same course that Charles Barkley apparently missed out on that Friday afternoon. Talk about perfect irony. Then there is Allen Iverson, whose perspective holds a completely different level of gravity. He is not on the court chasing rings anymore. He is the defining icon of Sixers history. The legendary Hall of Famer and 11-time All-Star did not hesitate to voice his thoughts on this acquisition. It is absolutely championship or bust now. That is what he adds, Iverson remarked, explaining that when you put a guy like him on any roster, you have a shot. That is as blunt as it gets. Yet, even Iverson pointed right back to the one major concern on everyone's mind, team health. Because no matter how thrilling this setup appears on paper, and regardless of how loaded their roster looks, everything hinges on whether these guys can avoid the training room when the real pressure mounts. And believe me, that pressure is incredibly real. Not because of any choices LeBron made in his past, but because of what this specific franchise experienced just months prior. Philadelphia did not just fall short last year. They were totally embarrassed and run off the floor by the eventual champions. With LeBron wearing a Sixers jersey, the stakes have officially gone through the roof. This is no longer about barely scraping into the postseason. It is about taking down the very team that humiliated them. The bar is set sky high with absolutely zero excuses. They cannot just be competitive or show progress. They must defeat the squad that swept them, meaning the New York Knicks, in that 2026 second-round matchup. And now they expect a 41-year-old LeBron to shoulder one of the heaviest offensive loads ever seen at his age, as they chase a championship. That is not normal. It is wild. Stephen A. Smith made it very clear that the sting of that defeat still lingers in Philly, and how this signing could completely reshuffle the Eastern Conference. The Knicks' dominance in the East might be finished, and Smith warns that this is a serious shot across the bow. So now you have a squad driving the local fan base wild, while making rival front offices sweat over their depth chart, all while dealing with the exact same massive health concerns that have plagued them for years. That dark shadow has not faded. Here is the truth. Nobody in this debate is totally wrong. Barkley is right that the roster is absolutely loaded, and there is no denying it. But Brian Windhorst's counterpoint is also incredibly fair. LeBron's previous teams were rarely as talent-heavy as people like to remember. Stephen A. Smith's hype is totally logical, too. Looking at the depth chart, this might be the most dominant late-career supporting cast LeBron has ever shared a court with. But everything rests on a single variable, Joel Embiid's physical durability. That is the ultimate hinge. As the start of training camp began drawing closer, the media circus did not die down. It simply shifted focus. Barkley continued to make his rounds, but his tone changed slightly. Once the initial shock wore off, the venting stopped, and he actually started breaking down the basketball side of the equation. On a later appearance, he went deep into how LeBron would fit with Embiid and Maxey. Now, that does not mean he backed off his stacking argument. Not even close. He stood by that completely. This is classic Barkley. He calls out whatever he dislikes loudly, but then he still analyzes the game with total honesty. He can easily criticize the decision and still explain exactly how it might work, all in the same breath, without acting like those two ideas cancel each other out. At the exact same time, trade rumors began flying almost instantly. That always happens when a massive move like this goes down. People instantly started wondering if LeBron arriving meant Embiid could be on his way out. That rumor did not last very long. Official reports shut it down quickly. According to Yahoo Sports reporter Kevin O'Connor, LeBron actually wants to play alongside Embiid, not replace him. And more importantly, Embiid was a major part of recruiting LeBron to Philly. Whatever doubts LeBron might have harbored about the franchise before, those concerns clearly did not extend to Embiid. The two superstars who sat down for that lengthy, private conversation about injuries and durability are the ones keeping this whole thing together, not pulling it apart. Then another fascinating layer got added to the narrative, something from the past that suddenly flashed back into the spotlight. Years ago, when LeBron chose the Lakers over Philly, Embiid sounded off with a very different tone. The Lakers are forever going to be Kobe and Magic's team, so process that, Embiid posted at the time. And the internet never forgets. That old social media post resurfaced almost instantly after the signing, and fans jumped all over it. Some started questioning how much genuine respect really exists between these new teammates. It is a tiny moment from years ago, but it proves this entire recruitment saga was not smooth at all. There was rejection, total silence, and then somehow it all circled back to that pivotal 2-hour meeting in Los Angeles that changed everything. Meanwhile, back in Cleveland, the city where Barkley wanted this story to end, the disappointment hit differently. This was not just about basketball, it was about legacy. LeBron spent 11 legendary seasons in Cleveland across 2 separate runs. And the numbers from those years are exactly why fans wanted him to finish there. He was drafted first overall back in 2003. He gave them 7 spectacular seasons before leaving in 2010, then came back in 2014 for 4 more. Over those 11 combined years, he averaged 27.2 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 7.3 assists. He won 2 MVP awards, made 10 All-Star teams, and delivered that 2016 championship, the only title in franchise history. After that legendary 3-1 comeback against Golden State, that is the exact ending Barkley had in mind, a full circle moment. But LeBron walked away from that narrative on purpose. Instead of going back, he chose a brand new path. Another team, another massive challenge, another shot at a ring in a jersey he has never worn before. Now everything shifts to what happens next, because this star-studded roster is about to be tested for real every single night. Embiid's health either holds up through a full season and playoff run, or it does not. Brown and Maxey either find the balance Smith believes in, or the offense starts stepping on itself. And LeBron at age 41 either still has enough left to push them over the top, or he does not. Barkley is going to keep saying what he has been saying, that LeBron stacks his teams, and that Cleveland should have been his final chapter. He is not letting that go. Windhorst will keep challenging that narrative, pointing out the parts of LeBron's career history that do not match that label as cleanly as critics might think. And right in the middle of all that noise, LeBron is heading into training camp with one of the most talented late career rosters he has ever had around him. They are chasing something this franchise has not touched in over 40 years. Whether this run ends in the championship, Iverson is predicting, or another disappointing exit for a fan base that has seen both extremes, one thing is clear. This debate is not cooling off anytime soon. Charles Barkley calls out LeBron James for ruining his day with his 76ers decision. Brian Windhorst fires right back at Charles Barkley over his LeBron James criticism. This story is not ending quietly. It is only just getting started. The headlines kept coming non-stop, and every single one added more heat to the entire situation. Charles Barkley did not hold back, with his take that LeBron is always stacking his teams, getting repeated absolutely everywhere. While media outlets kept highlighting how frustrated he was with LeBron choosing Philly over Cleveland, some even framed it as if Barkley was completely crushing the 76ers championship hopes before they even got started. At the exact same time, other prominent voices jumped in to challenge him. Shaq pointed out flaws in Barkley's argument, while analysts questioned whether the stacking label even fits him anymore. And reports kept surfacing about LeBron's true mindset, especially after that key conversation with Joel Embiid about his health. With updates on Embiid and reactions from Maxey and Edgecombe, and even old tweets resurfacing, it all kept this story going, loud and clear. Then you've got Stephen A. Smith taking things even further. putting the Knicks on notice while calling Philly a genuine title contender. I'm right there with him. Allen Iverson doubled down. Championship or bust. Talk about sky-high expectations. That's the situation. Hype, doubt, and pressure are all crashing together. Now, everything rides on what happens on the hardwood, because talking is one thing, but actually proving it is a whole different story. This squad must deliver, or the noise gets way louder. If you're still watching, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with anyone following the drama. Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. Was this a power move or a shortcut? That wraps it up. See you in the next video.